Hey, McGinn, welcome back to our Read Alouds. It's Mr. Lohn. I am looking forward to spending another week of Read Alouds with you, hoping to share different titles, different genres. Remember, as you're reading, mix things up. Do an adventure one week. Do something the next week that's going to make you laugh. Then jump into something nonfiction and learn. Always mix things up. It'll keep things fresh. It'll keep things exciting. And today we're going to do a title called Anne and Her Tower of Giraffes, The Adventurous Life of the First Giraffeologist. And it's written by Carlin Gray and Aparna Varma. Here's our cover, and I hope you enjoy. Four-year-old Anne explored the many wonders at Chicago's Brookfield Zoo until her bright blue eyes spotted a towering, elegant creature. Wow! Anne gazed into the giraffe's big brown eyes and refused to leave. Eventually, her mother insisted, "Time to go." But the memory of the beautiful giraffe followed her home to Toronto. Anne drew picture after picture of her giraffe. She wanted to know everything about it. What do giraffes eat? Do they make noises? Why are their necks so long? Growing up, she found plenty of library books about beavers, deer, and even elephants, but nothing about giraffes. Anne made a promise. One day, she would write a book all about giraffes. Her friends were amused. Anne loved going to school, always hoping her studies would include the long-necked creature with the big brown eyes. Maybe this year I'll learn something about giraffes. But each year, Anne was disappointed. Just before she turned 12, Anne caught scarlet fever. Stuck in a hospital bed, she celebrated her birthday alone until 3 visitors arrived. Finally, after a month in the hospital, Anne felt better and packed her bag. But the nurse had bad news. Because they didn't want germs to spread and infect others, they had to destroy all of Anne's belongings, including her toy giraffes. Anne pleaded desperately on behalf of her new friends. Scrubbed clean, the 3 giraffes followed her home after all. At 17, Anne returned to the zoo. This time, a giraffe walked straight toward Anne and dipped his head over the fence. Bright blue eyes peered into big browns. Anne's love of giraffes guided her to a university to study zoology. Surely she'd learn about her favorite animal there. But again, Anne was disappointed. Anne couldn't wait any longer. She made a decision. If she couldn't find a way to study giraffes at home, she would travel to the giraffe's true home, the continent of Africa. And that made a lot of people laugh. A woman traveling across the world on her own, a woman studying animals in the wild, unheard of. But their laughter just made Anne more determined. She wrote letter after letter requesting help from national parks and game reserves. One day, she received a life-changing reply from a ranch in South Africa, where more than 100 giraffes roamed free. She couldn't wait to tell her mother. "I can stay at this place, Fleur de Lis Ranch, while I watch giraffes every day." In the summer of 1956, Anne set off for a year of study, traveling by passenger ship from Canada to England, from England to South Africa. With another 1,000 miles left to travel, Anne bought a used car and named it Camello, short for the giraffe's scientific name, Giraffa camelopardalis. At last, I'm in Africa. After days of driving in the intense heat, she arrived at the ranch and was greeted by the owner, Mr. Matthew. "Welcome to Fleur de Lis Ranch." In the morning, Mr. Matthew offered Anne his binoculars, a film recorder, and a drive to see her first giraffe in the wild. "The moment I've been waiting for my whole life," she thought. They stopped near a pool of water where several animals gathered. 1, 2, 3, 4 antelopes and a huge giraffe. Bright blues peered into big browns. "She's gorgeous." Every day from dawn to dusk, Anne and Camilla went giraffing. Anne sought out the best places to observe giraffes and learned how to identify each one. Memorizing their markings, she named them all. Pom Pom had prominent horn hairs. The twins were close buddies. Cream, a cream rather than a white background. Limpy, a snare embedded in his lower leg. Lumpy, lumps on her lower neck. Pim was gentle. Blonde was a light-colored bull, and Star had body spots with jagged edges. Anne recorded all of her observations on giraffe behavior, from their diets to their vocal noises to their movements. Giraffes eat acacia leaves. I've read that giraffes never make any vocal noises, but now I know that's wrong. And she heard them snort. It's as if they're moving underwater, she thought. Sometimes she thought she was observing one giraffe, but really a group. A tower watched over Anne. I'm just so lucky to be here. Eventually, Anne's year of study was over. Time to go. Trying not to cry, Anne left South Africa. But the memory of Pom Pom the twins, Cream, Lumpy, Limpy, Pim, Blonde, and Star followed her home. Back home, Anne couldn't wait to tell the world what she had learned. But when she applied for jobs as a full-time professor, the universities just laughed at her, and that laughter stung. Even though Anne was the first Western scientist to study giraffes in the wild, no one would hire her as a professor because those jobs were given to men. Anne challenged their decision for years, but lost. And then she remembered her childhood promise. If she couldn't share her knowledge as a professor, she would do it as a writer. Over time, Anne went on to write more than 20 books. She wrote about giraffes, animal behavior, women's rights, the environment, and even a book for children, just like the one she had searched for all those years ago. Eventually, Anne's adventures caught the attention of someone who turned Anne's stories into a movie. Now even more people could learn about giraffes, and that made Anne laugh with joy. Now playing The Woman Who Loves Giraffes, the story of Anne Innes Dagg. Boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that story. I love the idea of she followed a childhood passion. She eventually made it a career, even though there were obstacles in front of her and little bumps and people telling her she couldn't. She persevered, and I love that she just said, I can do it, and she followed a dream. Okay, whatever you think you can accomplish, go for it, just like Anne did with her giraffes. But again, we'll be back with another Read Aloud tomorrow. Enjoy your night, and I'll see you soon.